Hey guys, and welcome to another flight with Alex's Flying Club. I am going to turn off these graphics here and get the flight started. Just a quick note about flights since incident. You see that it's jumped way up to 29, and that is indeed, I count the flights that I do offline as well, whether they have incidents or not. So I guess I'll have to take my word for those flights. But ever since I got a new flight model, hey guys, I'll turn the webcam on. Ever since I got the new flight model, I've had a lot less incidents. In fact, 29 straight flights without any kind of crashes or runway excursions on landing or takeoff or things like that. So yeah, hopefully I'll keep that streak going, and I'll talk a little bit more about the flight model for the Goose later on in the video. Okay, so let's take these logos off, and the stream has already started. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be a flight sim economy flight from Arcata Airport, hope I'm pronouncing that right, in Northern California, down to Little River Airport. It's going to be about a little bit over 100 nautical mile flight, and with this flight model I'm looking at about 45-minute flight from takeoff to landing, because this Goose does cruise a little bit faster and more accurately than the default Grumman Goose in FSX. Okay, so one more thing I have to do is start up flight sim economy. Okay, loadout looks good. We've got 8 passengers aboard for this flight, so let's get inside. In case you're wondering, this is my new setup for the mic. I've got a little pop filter for the mic, and it's on a boom stand, so hopefully the mic audio is a little bit better. Let me know if I need to adjust the audio balance in some way. If you're watching this live, I will look to upload this on YouTube if this is a successful flight as well, so you may be watching this as a recording. Okay, so jumped inside the Goose, still have the parking brake on. The weather loaded as I was starting the stream, so you've got a nice rain going on here, and let's get the aircraft set up. Fuel valves are on. Let's turn on the battery and the beacon lights. Just double check. Fuel pumps off. Floats are up. Gear switch is down, and we have tailwheel lock is unlocked. So it looks like we're good to go. One more thing I want to check is carb heat is off on the cold setting, so we're good there. Let's run through the pre-start checks. Mags are off. Props going to full forward. Throttles to crack position. Sure, let me add that to the checklist. Sorry about that. Since I fly the Goose so often, I've actually started making my own checklist for it and updating it. So here it is right there. But if in case I forgot something, I just write it in and print out a new version every once in a while. Okay, throttle's cracked. We've got carb heat, it's on cold. Parking brake is on, and let's start up engine number 2 first. Mixture's full. Starter on, mags on. And there goes engine number 2. It's a good start. Oh, that's right, I forgot fuel pump.
Did you want to stay on that current route, or do you want to go to direct Crescent City or something else further down the line? DC-52, we were going to try once north of Point Reyes with vectors for a day run if able, and then continue back.
So right generator's on, and we can start up the left engine.
That's affirmative for 52. GP52, roger. I don't know if you'll be able to do it at IFR.
Oh, I forgot something. Oh yes, the mixture. That's why I make these checklists, but I'm not following them. It's been a while since I streamed, so I'm a little bit out of practice and out of the rhythm of it. Okay, here we've got full mixture, fuel pumps back on, left starter, and looks like we've got a good start, or sounds like we've got a good start. Check the engine gauges. Everything looks like it's in the green or climbing in that direction. It'll take a while for the oil temperature, which is right over here, for these to get up into the green, but you can see that the right engine is already inching its way there. Fuel pump can go off, generators on, and let's lean out the mixture just a bit so we don't follow the plugs.
At 837 heavy, contact Oakland Center 119.9.
Trying a couple of new things this flight. I've remapped my throttle controls. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't see my yoke, but right here I've remapped some of the throttle and prop controls on the little levers that I have in my yoke, and hopefully won't get too confused with this new setup. Alright, let's turn the avionics on. Go through the after start checks. Pressures and temperatures look good. Fuel pump is off. Avionics have come on, and switches are set. I have filed a VFR flight plan to be cruising at 5,500, but I'm going to start off and cruise at 1,500 because the forecast shows that it's overcast at about 3,500 or so. So I'm going to start off low and see how high we can climb in this aircraft. So let's tune in and get the actual ATIS if it's available here. I don't remember if it is at this airport. Sorry about the sound going off. That's just a feature of FSX when you stream, or FSX in general when you click out of the window into like a browser window. It mutes the sound of FSX. So anyway, let's plug in the ATIS frequency. Let's actually put it here on this one. 118.525. I'm gonna have to turn down the volume a little bit. I don't know if that affects the way you guys hear it, but turning down the game volume a little bit, it's just a little hard to focus because it's really loud in my headphones. I'm just going to write down the ATIS as it's read out. Or rather, this is the ASOS, Automated Weather Observation. Okay, so that's the weather. We've got, looks like broken ceiling at 3,000. So we'll see how it is when we get up there. So far we're going to depart VFR. My weather charts show VFR conditions for this area, so we should be good. The wind is out of the, it's almost calm. So let's see where we're located. We're right by runway 32, so that's the one we'll take for a quick taxi out of here. And runway 32 is a 6,000 foot runway will have plenty of room for a nice standard takeoff. 316 is the runway heading. Notice that the runway headings published currently do not match up to the FSX database. Obviously, the magnetic, well, I guess it's not necessarily obvious, but the magnetic bearing of the runway headings change as years go by because of magnetic features of the Earth. The Earth itself is slightly changing, and the magnetic heading it does as well. So it'll probably be like maybe 4 degrees off in FSX compared to the real world. Okay. And before I forget, I'm just going to set the trim. I like to do a +1 with the yoke setup that I have. That's elevator trim for takeoff. And our course after takeoff is going to be 188. And you guys can check out my flight route on my channel page as usual. You may or may not be wondering why, how I changed the radio frequencies and the heading and course indicators without using a mouse. That's something else that I did as a project. Carva, welcome to the stream. This is indeed a nice looking cockpit. I've been flying the Goose a lot, as you may have noticed from my previous streams, but this is one handsome aircraft. There's a handsome dude right there, Jimi Hendrix, the ghost of Jimi Hendrix there, and is our co-pilot. And I'll give you guys an exterior view in case you're just coming in here. Here we are on the parking area. Our little flying boat, the Grumman Goose. So the way that I switched my radios and course and heading without using the mouse, it's pretty non-standard. You practically don't see anybody doing this in FSX, but I've mapped all my keys on my keyboard to, this is my cheat sheet, to standard FSX functions. And this is specific to the Goose since I fly it so often. So I can do things like, if you take a look at the radios right over here, I'm doing this all by keys, and then also my controls in the on my yoke. So I'm changing this right now on my yoke, which you can't see in the webcam, but that's okay. I'm not using my mouse, and I can also change the nav radios. I can turn all of these guys on with buttons on the keyboard. So, and I can also change my course and heading. I can see why many people don't use this feature. Hey Al, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it is different, as you say, Al. I can see why people don't use the feature because it takes a while to get used to. Like, you have to press one key to select the feature, and then other keys to actually move it up and down. And you have to do it sometimes in quick succession. Like, you'll have to select the engine select key and then choose 1 or 2 to select the engine. And then you have to hit the magnetos key, and then do up or down to change the magnetos. So I've gotten used to it. So let's see if I wanted to check the second engine mag. So I'm hitting 1 key, hitting engine select 2, then I have to hit the mag select key, and then, oh, whoops. I have to remember to click inside of the simulator first. Let's try it again. Engine select 2, select mags. So there we go. Now I can check the mags for engine 2. So it's a bit of a hassle, but I took the time to kind of figure it all out, write it out in a little cheat sheet for myself for the keyboard, and it works for me. The goal was kind of to stop using the mouse and pretend that the keyboard is like a little home cockpit panel. The cheapest home cockpit you can imagine. Okay, so let's get going here. Engines are warmed up and we're ready to go. I am on VATSIM, and the ATC that you're hearing in the background is liveatc.net for Oakland Center, because we are outside of, I think, the coverage area for VATSIM, although I do see that Seattle Center came online. But since we'll be departing, or we may have already departed out of Seattle Center territory, I don't know if we're that far north. But I know definitely once we're getting into Little River Airport, which is our destination, I will have crossed into Oakland Center ATC airspace. So without further ado, I've turned the transponder on. I'm going to note the departure time. It's exactly 12:30 local. There's no published airport chart, so I'm just going to take a quick look here. I'm going to make a left turn, and the runway is going to be right there for us. So parking brake is off. So this would be a good time to mention the changes to the flight model. So it is my opinion that the Grumman Goose Redux, which is very popular, that's what you're seeing here. The graphical changes to the cockpit are by the AUSIX group, and they've changed around the default Grumman Goose, and it's a very popular freeware add-on. You can find it on AUSIX.org, or if you go to my channel page under FSX add-ons, if you search for Redux, one of the things that should come up is this freeware modification. But it is my opinion that the flight models within the Redux package are very inaccurate, almost to the point where I couldn't enjoy flying them as much because they weren't very realistic. And both the high power version and the lower power version suffered from their own unique set of problems. But there was this gentleman who created a fix for both the default Grumman Goose and for the Redux. Actually, you know what? Let me head over here. I'm going to do a quick run up in this apron as I talk. And I don't remember his name offhand. You know what? Let me look it up, because I'm so happy with this particular change to the flight model that I think he deserves the credit. So let me just take a quick look here on my channel page, which you guys can see as well if you're interested. Mr. L. Dixon. So Flight Dynamics by L. Dixon on my channel page, and these are freeware. I have a link to it, and sorry about that. Okay, so I do have a link to it there, and it really makes the Goose flyable and a lot nicer than some of the default setups. And one of the nice things about it is that it has the free cast steering tail wheel, so you have to control the Goose with your either the brakes or probably more preferably the differential throttles. So I have two of my little levers in my yoke set up for differential throttle when I'm on the ground in this aircraft, which is fun. Just fun to do. It's fun to get used to. It's one of the things I like about the Goose is that it's a tail dragger, and you have to do all these funky operations to get it to taxi properly. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick run up here. Set our BM to about 1500. Check the right engine mags. Check carb heat. Make sure the generator takes the load of the other one when it's turned off. Okay, let's check the left engine. Mags look good. Carb heat seems to be working. Generator works. And suction looks good. Let's cycle the... Whoops. There we go. I got confused with my new lever mappings. Let's cycle the prop. Oh, we gotta select both engines again. There we go. That looks good. There's the prop lever. Okay. Let's check to make sure pitot heat works. There we go. You can see it change the voltage there. And what else do we got? I think that's it. Okay, so we're ready to go. Let's just get on the taxiway, do our before takeoff checks.
That's your requested final. Jaeger at this time. Operation, Communication 33, climb to 10,000. Asiana 283 Heavy, Oakland Center, climb maintain flight level 230. Climb to Prelab 230, Asiana 283.
Okay, departure is going to be pretty standard. After takeoff, we're going to be turning left onto course. Standard takeoff power and standard climb profile to 1,500 feet, looking for 5,500 eventually. Just going to double check to make sure Oakland Center is not online. Okay, just Seattle Center. Actually, let's turn on some lights, get some things ready. Let's make sure nobody's in the area that we can disrupt. Yeah, it's pretty clear on VATSIM. So lights are on. Before takeoff checks. Trim set, control set, mixtures are on. Rich. Props are full forward. Carb heat is cold. Flaps are going to stay up for this takeoff. Floats are also up. Switches in the avionics set, and just double check that we've got the Flight Sim Economy app running. Okay, everything's good there. Passengers are on board. And lineup checks. Lights are on, transponders on, tail wheel to go. Pitot heat we can turn on since we're ready to take off. Okay, that's set. So tail wheel lock to go. Let's get lined up nice and straight. Or as centered as I can get it, without fussing about it too much. Tail wheel lock is on, and let's give it full gas. Pull back in the yoke a little bit as it's speeding up. I'm going to push down on the yoke once it picks up speed so that we don't take off too early. I'm looking for about 95, 98 miles per hour for takeoff.
1547 Charlie, Oakland Center. Roger, descend and maintain 5,000.
Kind of struggles, maybe because we're at max weight. Kind of struggles to get off a little bit initially. Yeah, you can see the nice little cars as we take off right over the beach. It's a nice departure here. The landing lights can come off. Let's adjust our speeds. So I'm going to set climb speed. 2100 RPM is good for climb. And looking to maintain 110 miles per hour. And at this point I can lean it out a little bit to give us better performance, but I still want to keep it on the rich side. And low-lying clouds. I'm going to make a left-hand turn here and stop the climb at 1,500 feet because I don't want to go IFR and I don't want to be ducking around all those clouds. But I think once we get to closer to Little River, our destination, we're going to have some clearer weather, at least according to the forecast. We'll see. Okay, there we go. So we're going to be flying along the coast for the entire flight and enjoying this blue sky scenery, this nice freeware photoreal scenery. So let's come down a little bit on the engine controls, on the manifold pressure that is, and RPM, and make sure we stop our climb. And we're gonna maintain this heading for about 36 nautical miles, so that's gonna be maybe like 10, 15 minutes on this heading. Flight route is pretty simple today. It's going to be just along the coast, and landmarks are going to be easy to spot. So I'm not too worried about accurate guessing about the time of each leg, the timing of each leg. I'll leave it at. I lean out during cruise for about 16 gallons per hour. That's approximately what you should be cruising at in this aircraft. Oh, thank you, Al. The sound of this aircraft is actually a payware package. It's not expensive. It was like $8 by SkySong Soundworks. I also have a link to that on my channel page. It makes, well, my heart skipped a beat there. I thought the stream froze. Yeah, but it's a payware sound package, and it's really nice. It really brings the aircraft to life, I think. Sound is one of those things that it's one of the easiest ways to improve your experience in flight simulation, in my opinion. It's often overlooked, but if you fly, especially if you fly a single aircraft a lot, like I do, these days 95% of my flights are in a Goose. Having good sounds that don't annoy you, first and foremost, is pretty much essential. And when you have a package that really has that good, throaty, mellow sound of the Pratt & Whitney Junior Wasp 985 engines, it's all the better. So it looks like there's a little bay or inlet of water here. I'm gonna set it on autopilot just to get my bearings and take a quick look at a map. But first, before I do that, let me just go through the after takeoff checks, which I should have done as I was climbing. Engine power is set. Come down a little bit on the manifold pressure, not that much. That looks good. Gears up, flaps are up, floats up, switches are set. Cruise checklist, let's turn the carb heat on. There's moisture in the air and it's somewhat close to freezing. It's plus 7 degrees, so better safe than sorry. I actually don't have a temperature gauge inside here. That's one of the drawbacks of this cockpit. But I kind of estimate what the temperature is up here based on what it is on the ground and how high I'm flying. Mixture set, engine gauges are looking good. Everything's in the green. And fuel quantity is fine. That's the cruise check, looks complete. So let me take a look and see if I can find on the map where I am. Looks like we're passing a factory, and sometimes these factories they actually appear, or actually oftentimes appear on sectional charts. Okay, let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, so here's the chart. Took off from Arcata Airport. You can see that the weather is probably even turning worse here, but as we fly over here, we're going to get into some better weather. You can see by the time we get, this is our destination, so in this area it looks like it's going to be a few clouds, scattered clouds, a little bit better. The wind is a little gusty, gusting at from 11 to 15 knots at the closest weather station, so it should be an interesting landing, but I think we'll be okay. So we've been passing some of these bays, and that was actually called Arcata Bay, and you can see these stacks. It says stacks right here. Those are the factory or whatever they were that we saw in the scenery, which is really cool that they're having that included. Some buildings here by Fields Landing. Let's see if we can see those in the sim. They should either be over here somewhere or over there. No, yeah, I think they should be over here, but I'm not seeing any. We will see them as we get closer. All right.
Switching 12585.
Take it off of autopilot and do some hand flying.
Center deep sea 5, turn in 8,000 feet, request flight level 2601.
Speed's a little on the low side, but they may be due to wind.
Request climb to flight level 2601.
Bravo Quest Center, climb and maintain flight level 230, Alpha 26 on request.
Climb and maintain 230, DC5.
So it looks like once we round this cape, and actually appropriately enough, there's a little town at the edge of that cape called Cape Town. This is probably where those buildings were that I was looking for, but they don't have a three-dimensional representation of the scenery. That's okay. But yeah, as I was saying, once we were on that cape, we're going to be going to to a course of 150. So let me just get that ready for a visual reference on the HSI indicator.
Okay, good afternoon. So 1873, 30.5, 240.
The general is that.
Yeah, I don't have it quite yet, but trying to get it, but negative.
Still looks like it's a good idea to stay at this altitude. I don't know if I'll have a chance to climb higher during the flight. Maybe once we clear these clouds, maybe it'll be looking nicer up ahead. We can climb up to a more comfortable altitude.
The temperature 13.04 and altimeter 2985.
Okay, 4.5 seconds.
So 3645 over. I maintain flight level 230 for direct speed.
230 direct speed.
Also the carb heat, turning the carb heat on put a dent in our power production, so that's just something you have to live with aircraft like this, or any aircraft in general that has anti-ice features. They tend to take their power from the engine in one way or another, and as a result you get a slight performance hit. It's a beautiful exterior model too. Even outside of the cockpit, if you kind of just raise up and crane your nose and take a look here, I like these all these little cool features here. This is actually to tie a rope around if you're landing on water and pulling up to a dock. This is like, you see these on sailboats, I forget what they're called, but you tie the rope around here so that the goose doesn't float away. And these things right here kind of remind me of net cutters on World War II submarines. If you ever look at like a U-boat, a German submarine, or like an American submarine from World War II, on the front they'll have these kind of triangular shapes. I don't know what function they have on this particular flying boat. I can't imagine they're for cutting any kind of nets. They must be used for something else. Maybe it's for aerodynamic purposes, I'm not sure. You can see some nice reflective textures right there on some of the engine parts.
So you get the frequency for GT45?
And I am using the GPS. I like to navigate VFR by sight, but lately I've been pulling up the GPS just to have it up. I have it up on my second monitor. You guys won't be able to see it, but I just put in my destination here, so I have a rough estimate of where I am.
We were descending via, do you want to go to 11000 now? Yeah, I'm coming for traffic. 11000, that was 1873.
Oh, I forgot that. I'm entering in the new ICAO code for this aircraft, and FSX still uses the old one for Little River. The old one is O as in Oscar 48. And the new one is Kilo Lima Lima Romeo, KLLR. Looks like that's Cape Town over there. So, Cape Town, California, not Cape Town, South Africa. I think the oh, hello there. Somebody private messaged me. Yes. So I'm guessing this is somebody that's in the stream as well. I do own one. Just reply here. There we go.
Turn 15 degrees left sector to go to descent.
15 left, that was 1873.
So we're going to round this cape, and new heading of 150. Have that bugged in, and we're going to be on this particular heading for about 11 nautical miles. So my registration is November 85 Alpha Lima. That's my usual call sign, and I've renamed Goose to this call sign. I actually, there's a really kind community member in FSC, Demetrius, and he had this lease program for new pilots on Flight Sim Economy. And I was leasing the Goose for a while, and I was paying off the lease so I can purchase it, and he gave me some very generous discounts along the way. And now I've paid off and technically own the Goose.
Contact Oakland on 134.907.
134.907, United 404.
12 Oakland Center, Squawk 1437.
Some really nice beach and rock effects with the blue sky scenery. November 555 Tango Kilo doesn't let people rent his aircraft either. Yeah, I don't have a lot of ambitious plans for flight sim economy. I'm pretty much just happy to own this one aircraft for now and just fly it around. What I like about flight sim economy is that it creates a I'm actually gonna ask this guy if he's in. What was I saying? Oh, okay. So he's saying you can only, yeah, the way that the flight sim economy determines cruise speed. Oh, cool. Okay, so let him know.
947 Charlie, contact tower 118.5.
So I'm just chatting with this fellow here. I've never actually been private messaged for a long time. Maybe when I was just starting out, people private messaged me because I was asking about how to use VATSIM and whatnot. But that's pretty cool. I think because I put in my comments on my flight plan that I'm doing flight sim economy flights, so maybe that's how he found me. In fact, that probably would be the only way. Yeah, but as I was saying, I just enjoy flying the Goose on flight sim economy. What I like about it is that it creates a persistent world, kind of like A2A aircraft with AccuSim have like a persistent aircraft that changes as you fly. Same kind of an idea, but it's more on the back end. A2A is like literally on the front end of your aircraft. Once you load it in, each time it will have aged, quote unquote. The oil will have changed viscosity, and the other properties of the aircraft will change. You may need to change the oil. You may need to do some maintenance. But with flight sim economy, it's more in the back end. It just kind of plugs into FSX to get some basic data, like when you start your flight, when you end your flight, how much fuel you used, and things like that. And then it determines just basic maintenance checks and random maintenance fixes on its own. So it's similar kind of an idea, but I really like the persistent aircraft, persistent world feature in any kind of flight sim. That really adds to the immersion and feeling of realism for me. So it is good. All right, so let me change my heading to 124. It's going to be our next. It's going to be where we're going.
1709, Roger, you ready for it now?
We're going to be passing an airport to our left fairly shortly, and that's going to be Shelter Cove Airport. And pretty much there'll just be one more turn, and after that, after a short flight on our new heading, we'll be getting very close to Little River Airport, and that looks really nice, those reflections from the mountain. I really like that. I'm flying in FSX Classic Edition. For no particular reason. I would prefer to fly in P3D, I think, or even FSX Steam Edition, but well, actually there is a reason why I'm flying Classic. It's because I'm too lazy to reinstall everything. I've got a bunch of freeware and payware add-ons already installed in FSX, and it's working well for me. I have no complaints. Lately it's been crashing sometimes, which had never happened to me ever before, and it may have something to do with the blue sky scenery, because it is quite intensive. Before I didn't really use any intensive scenery packages, so I may be running into some memory usage issues, and that's crashing the sim. But aside from that, I think I'll only switch when I really have to, like get a new laptop and have to reinstall everything anyway.
Office 1873, contact NorCal on 120.90.
20.9, South 1873, good day.
Bye.
So I think I'll just stay at 1,500 feet for the rest of the flight. We've cleared the clouds, but I don't know if there's a point in climbing. We're gonna have to descend in about 10 minutes anyway, if I were to climb. But I guess we can turn the carb heat off since there's less moisture. That'll give us a bit of a boost in speed.
Rook 40 through that requested.
I think I'll also start putting in my comments section of the VATSIM when I file a flight plan on VATSIM that I'm also streaming. That way people, if they're interested, can also check out the stream. And then also know that, you know, if they message me, their chat will pop up on the stream and whatnot, which I don't necessarily mind, but they may mind it if they don't know that they're just thinking they're private messaging somebody, and then all of a sudden people can see their messages on the stream. So we picked up speed, not too much. I think we're actually flying with a headwind, because I usually make about 150, 155 knots ground speed, and my GPS is showing about 140, 145, let's say. It's a nice little creek. Using this nice photo scenery is a little bit bittersweet, because it's so lifelike and sometimes you just encounter such beautiful spots that you think, man, I want to be there in real life right now. It looks so cool. But you can't because it's just a simulator. But things to keep in mind, like I was flying in, things to keep in mind when I travel in real life. I was flying in Idaho, some parts of Idaho in the simulator, and I think if I'm ever in Idaho and have like a day or two to kill, I'll definitely check out some of the backcountry airfields that I flew into, or at least some of the canyon areas in the Rockies, because in the simulator they look really cool, and I think in real life they'd be even better. So, don't think we've reached our next turn quite yet, although maybe we have. No, that's Shelter Cove coming up. Sorry, I'm getting close to the mic. OQ5, that's Oscar, no, 0 Quebec 5 is, should be over there. I don't know if we'll see it if it's on a higher elevation.
South 296 is 24 from 640. South 28. Correction, South 296. Open center, send the wind to around. Open now, 299 or 800. 299, send me the wind to around.
Shelter Cove for X-Plane. Okay, so you Cessna 310, you probably used the Coronado version, no? Hey, and if you're checking out, do you mind, N555, do you mind typing in the Twitch chat? If not, you can continue typing in the VATSIM chat. It'll just go straight to the stream if you use the VATSIM chat, which I don't care either way. But I guess I have a slight preference for using the Twitch chat. But oh, okay, cool. I'll add you as a. Okay. I followed you on Twitch there. Yeah, so you use probably the Coronado C310, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have a model of that aircraft for X-Plane, and it's a nice one too. You know, I've been thinking of. Oh, they don't have a C310. I could have sworn they did. I gotta look into this. Oh, they have a Cessna 340. You're right. Okay, gotcha. So you're using another one for X-Plane. The thing is, I've been wanting to install X-Plane, or rather to install Flight Sim Economy into X-Plane, but I hear it's such a hassle that I've been kind of dragging my heels on it. I do have X-Plane. I do like to fly in X-Plane, and in fact there's a Grumman Goose for X-Plane that I wanted to try. It goes on sale fairly regularly on the org. I just have to remember to check it out and try to, actually that reminds me, let me check if it's on sale today. Daily deals, Spitfire package, no. So I check the X-Plane.org store. Been doing that lately to see if the Grumman Goose goes on sale. But anyways, it's even retail, it's like $20. But the nice thing about it includes the Turbo Goose, and it includes the regular Grumman Goose piston engine. So eventually I'll install Flight Sim Economy into X-Plane and try that Goose out for my Flight Sim Economy flights. I'm actually just curious if the wind is coming from the direction from that direction, because I keep wanting to turn into the wind. It looks like there's like a force opposing my straight direction of movement. So so it seems to me the wind is coming from about 160. Let's see how accurate that is. Nope, it's coming from 232. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, it's still coming from that general direction, but and our ground speed's a little bit faster, so it may have shifted from before. Okay, right now it's 148. Okay, yeah, so the wind just keeps shifting a little bit, but in general, that's why I keep turning the Goose slightly to oppose that drift. But if I was paying more attention and not talking so much, which is okay, it's part of the stream, but if I was paying more attention, I would just set a course that would correct for the wind drift, and that way I wouldn't have to constantly be turning the aircraft to avoid those hills. You guys may be hearing some hammers knocking in the background. They're doing some construction in the apartment next door to mine, so hope it's not too loud in the stream, if you can hear it at all even. Okay, I'm just going to set it on autopilot for a bit so that I can plan my arrival, my approach. Oh, okay, cool. Cranky says maybe Friday or Monday there'll be an org sale for the Grub and Goose. Sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely try to pick that up on this xplane.org. Thanks for that, Cranky. I'm guessing that'll be for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, which there's some nice ones going on right now. I've been eyeing the SE5A biplane from Just Flight. It's on sale on the FS Pilot Shop, but even with the sale, it's still, I think, expensive for what it is. It's like $18 with the sale and like $31 without the sale. And I mean, there's comparable freeware aircraft that are just as good, but it just so happens that I really love the SE5A biplane, and I almost want to purchase it just for that reason. But we'll see. Let's set our new course to be 157. I can see on the GPS that the coast is going to be angling toward the I guess the west from the perspective of just looking at it on the map. So I'm going to account for that. It's not really in sight, but it's kind of starting to appear in the distance. It'll be curving this way. So I'm going to get ahead of it and make my heading 157. I probably won't be able to receive any weather information. Let's try it. 121.125 at Little River Airport. A lot of these little weather stations don't work in FSX for whatever reason. No, I'm not receiving that. That's okay. We're gonna. What I usually do at the untowered airports, I fly over the airport and take a look at the windsock if I can see it. That way, I can have an idea of what runway I'm going to be landing at. So there's only one runway at, runway at Little River. either runway 11 or runway 29, depending on which way you look at it. And winds are probably going to be out of the west, so I'm expecting runway 29. I'm going to just set the runway heading as the course. So runway heading of 29 or 3 should do it. Thank you guys for joining me on this flight. It's been a while since I've streamed, but I've been kind of selfish. I've just been flying on my own the whole time, but it's good to be streaming again. I do enjoy it. I've increased our altitude by a little bit. Oh, man. Using my old mappings. That's why I just screwed up my throttles. I remapped my levers, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, on my yoke. So that's confusing me a little bit. Moving out the mixture. I've increased the altitude because we're going to be entering 500 feet above traffic pattern elevation. Traffic pattern elevation is 1,600 feet at Little River, and I'm going to be at 2,100 feet when I overfly the field. Take it off of autopilot.
Singapore 015 heavy contact, Oakland Center 119.97.
I've been flying all around NorCal in flight sim economy. In general, I've taken this Goose. When I first started the lease program that I was on, this Goose was in, I want to say, Wyoming or one of the Dakotas, I forget, or maybe even East Colorado. Anyways, just pretty much smack dab in the middle of the country. And I was flying it west in chapters because I would kind of linger in certain areas. And first I lingered a long time in Idaho, flying some of the canyon routes. That was really fun. And then after that was over, I went to Vancouver Island and did a tour of Vancouver Island, and this is all in flight sim economy as well. I was doing jobs along the way to pay off the Goose, pay off the lease on the Goose, and to purchase it. And so I stayed in Vancouver Island area for a while, and then I flew to NorCal, and now I'm kind of lingering here until I reactivate my Pilot Edge membership, and I'm kind of in a strategic position to fly further south into SoCal once I get my Pilot Edge membership back. And that's my reward for finding a job again. Currently looking for work, and I've been at it for a few months, but I'm gonna hold off on renewing my Pilot Edge. That'll be my reward for being gainfully employed again. So far I've been flying on VATSIM. And that's why you're hearing live ATC transmissions, because a lot of times VATSIM controllers are not online, like Oakland Center is not online. So when I'm streaming, I'll put on Oakland Center live ATC for this area. And this is actually what you'd be hearing if you were flying right now in real life in this area and you were tuned to the local frequency. So that's a cool experience too, I think. But Pilot Edge, the controllers are always online, and all the airspace that's supposed to be monitored in SoCal is. And well, they're always online within the coverage area and within the time of operations. So I'll be I'm looking forward to doing that again. It's kind of funny. When I first got the yoke, I wasn't used to flying with my left hand. But a lot of times you'll have to fly with your left hand in the real world. Like if you're learning on a Cessna 172 and you're sitting in the quote-unquote captain's side, in the left-hand seat, the pilot's seat, you're controlling the throttle with your right hand and holding onto the yoke with your left. And I had prior to getting this CH yoke, I was using the joystick, and the joystick you're always using your right hand for steering and control of the aircraft and whatnot. So I've been kind of purposefully forcing myself since I got the yoke to be flying with my left hand, so that when I'm on approach and final approach and in the pattern, I'm used to flying with it, because you have to keep your right hand a lot of times on the throttles, on the throttle, prop, mixture, etc. So as a consequence, I'm actually more comfortable flying with my left hand now with the yoke than my right hand. Or rather, I think I'm still more accurate with like fine adjustment with my right hand, but if I don't pay attention to it, I'll do the whole flight with my left hand, because I've gotten used to it, which is pretty cool.
100,000 correction 246.
Getting a little bit sloppy with my altitude though. Should be maintaining 2100. I think I started my climb a little early. My GPS, I was zoomed out very far, so I thought I was getting very close to the airport, but it turns out I still had like 30 nautical miles to go. So what's this town here? Just out of curiosity, let's pull up the. Let's pull up the map. Should turn the autopilot on as I'm doing that. So right now we are flying near Little River. This is going to be our ultimate destination. We're about 10 miles away, very close. So this town looks like it's, I think it's Cleone, or maybe it's Fort Bragg. Actually not sure. Let's see if we can use some of the. I don't think my autopilot turned on correctly, or rather I didn't turn it on correctly. Let's see where we're located geographical feature wise. So we haven't yet come to this Cape area, the surrounded part. So I think that was Cleone, the town of Cleone right there that we saw. Okay. It's always interesting to identify those little areas.
United 72, Oakland Center, squawk 2743.
Let's come off the autopilot.
Open center, Roger, can expect to visit approach runway 32. 93, descend and maintain 7,000.
So at this point, if I was on the advisory frequency, 122.7, and I was on pilot edge, I'd set the frequency. I'm going to set it just into nav 2, just for fun. I'm not actually going to transmit on VATSIM, because you don't do untowered airport transmissions on VATSIM usually. You just go to 122.8 and use text comms. But I would make a call something like Little River traffic, Goose 85, Alpha Lima is 2 miles north of the field, going to be passing overhead 500 feet, and joining an active downwind for a full stop landing, Little River traffic. So I'd make a call of something like that. I should say my usual disclaimer that I'm not a real world pilot, and anything that I talk about aviation related, anything that's aviation related, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, if I put this up eventually, make sure to take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not a real world pilot and I don't know real world procedures perfectly, or to the level that I should know them if I were to be flying in the real world. I don't have a private pilot's license or any kind of license, so take everything I say with a grain of salt if you're using it for real world aviation. Okay, so the wind is coming out of the east, it looks like. Interesting. So I'll actually be landing east direction. And let me see, just make sure, I should have checked this earlier, but okay, traffic pattern is to the left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a procedure turn, or a procedure turn like turn, so that I can join the downwind, left downwind for runway 11. So I'm gonna come down on the mixture, or rather on the throttle. I'm gonna enrich the mixture a little bit. I've checked the landing area, it's clear. Carb heat I can check, it's cold. I'm gonna descend gradually as I do this procedure turn. And I'm looking for a traffic pattern elevation of 1,600 feet. But there is terrain in this area, so I do have to be careful. Actually, at this point I can set RPM to about 2100, which is what I'll keep it at for the approach. And I can start my, oh, wrong way. I can start my turn back toward the runway.
Southwest 2760, clear at Compton, about 20 miles north of Hopper, 7,000.
It's a little steep. I want to keep it at about 25-degree turn. And we're going to be joining the downwind in a 45-degree angle for a left downwind runway 11. We can slow down now a little bit. Turn our landing light on. Just a quick look at the before landing checklist. Tailwheel lock is locked. Okay, it's complete. I'll turn my downwind a little bit early, but I've been having problems with my base turn to final lately, so I'm going to give myself a little more room to maneuver than usual. adjust my trim since my speed's coming down. And my approach speed is going to be about 95 knots. Oh, correction, about 98 miles per hour. Not knots. This airspeed indicator is in miles per hour. That's what I've been using. Just want to make sure there's no aircraft on VATSIM in the area. Okay, that's good. Seattle Center's online. Los Angeles Center's online, but not Oakland Center. Okay, we're going to start our descent. Let's get our gear down. Once we're below flap extension speed, I'm going to come down on the flaps. Let's do a flap 60 landing. And let's do 23 inches of manifold pressure to maintain our speed. This is a challenging aircraft to land, especially if you don't have the flight dynamics update that I was talking about by Mr. L. Dixon. It's almost impossible to land, especially with any kind of crosswind, if you don't have that update. But even with the update, which makes it a lot more realistic, it's a difficult aircraft to figure out. And it's taken me a while to note the proper engine settings and behaviors and stuff. And I'm just getting the hang of it, but not at all proficient at it. A little fast there. Usually 23 inches at this configuration gives me about 100 miles per hour, but it's a little fast there. I was testing it out at about 3,000 feet above sea level, so it may not be as exactly the same at 1,000 feet.
I'm probably going to, if you want, turn 15 right, I'll take you across the low flies and then you're on the left side. Now, keep the lower, clear that target.
Gas, undercarriage down, mixture is set, props are full, flaps 60.
Number 340, Big Charlie, Oakland Center, Roger, go ahead. Men down to maintain 7,000.
We'll maintain 7 Southwest 27.6.
When will you be ready?
Flaps up, get the heat off, tail wheel lock unlocked, and it looks like we're going to be parking on the left side, which should be the north side, so let the aircraft slow down on its own and we'll take the last taxiway on runway 11. And note the landing time, 1:32 local time, so that gives us almost exactly an hour long flight. Alright, that was a nice flight. I enjoyed that. Hope you guys did too. Okay, coming off the taxiway, off the runway here, onto the taxiway.
Inbound now, about 14 miles from the airport, you're clear to ILS. Right, clear to ILS, check runway.
And clear the runway, we can turn our landing and strobe lights off. After landing checks, tail wheel lock is unlocked. Flaps are up. Transponder we can turn off on VATSIM. This is an untowered airport. And switches are set. After landing checks complete. So I'm just gonna taxi to the parking area,
Yeah, 204.
and I think I'll end the stream there. I don't know how they can hear that guy on the radio that was just talking. Yeah, real world radios are a lot more garbled than something than you hear on Pilot Edge sometimes or Vatson. Sometimes people have serious problems with their transmitters, it seems to me.
Get in 93, descend to maintain at 4,000. Denver rate 2 Delta Hotel, climb and maintain 8,000.
Asia 204, that's affirmative.
Thank you. 5.85. Get it 93, still on the airport site. Clear for the visual approach. Santa Rosa, get it 90. Get it 93, no traffic observed. Radar service terminated. Contact the Santa Rosa Tower. Appreciate the station site. Hello, Oakland Center. Climb maintain 1,000, 11,000. I have your request for
Just take a quick look at the parking areas at this airport. Again, I don't think there's a chart published for the airport, so I'm going to use the top-down view. I'm just going to take the nearest one here, making sure I don't park next to one of the fuel stations, because that's a no-no for flight sim economy. I've made this mistake once. If you park accidentally next to the fuel, your fuel quantity will spike up, and Flight Sim Economy will register that as an invalid flight because it wants to track your accurate fuel usage during the flight. Because in Flight Sim Economy, you actually have to pay for the fuel that you use.
Oakland, good afternoon, Delta 567, passing flight level 330 for 240.
Southwest 567, Oakland Center, descend via the bridge.
Still running into that friction bug a little bit, the ground friction bug. I did install a fix for that. It makes it a little bit better, but you can still see it sometimes. Not nearly as bad though as without it.
Oakland Center, Bonanza 90415, Quebec 5100. I'd like to cancel my IFR at this point and stay flight following to Santa Rosa.
Establish November 90415, Quebec 1 to cancel.
Yes, I want to cancel 15 Quebec.
November 15 Quebec, cancellation received, maintain VFR, remain on code for flight following, altimeter 2985.
2985, 15 Quebec.
From what I've seen of YouTube videos of real-world tail dragger pilots, actually before they come in for a turn, let's say they're making a right turn, you go to the left side of the taxiway you're coming from, and then turn almost like in a race car to maximize your turning radius. Which is pretty cool, I thought. I don't know if that applies to all tail dragger aircraft. It would make sense to me that it does, but since this is a free cast steering tail wheel aircraft, if you use the flight dynamics update, you can get it to work that way, which is realistic. It is. It's fun to learn the real world procedures for these type of beautiful flying machines, old school flying machines. And I'm trying to reset my brakes because for some reason, there we go, it registers that I'm pressing the brakes when I'm actually not. Alright, so we can set the parking brake. There we go. Oh, that's really cool. November 941, or rather, yeah, the one that you put in chat. Is that you're hearing that on the ATC comms? That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't mean I'm in California too. I live in up in or down in SoCal near Los Angeles. But yeah, there's some nice airports in this area. That's for sure. All right, so we can shut down the avionics. We can cut the mixture. There we go. Just gonna note the time, 1:39. Note the fuel used. We've got 56 gallons remaining, so I used 30 gallons for this flight, which is pretty typical at 16 gallons an hour. It's actually a little bit more than I expected, but it's probably because of the climb, and yeah, probably because of the climb that we did. It cost some more fuel. And let's see, let's shut off our mags, generators,
Open center, Alaska 307 through 6000 for 1.
lights can come off, batteries off, and fuel valves. Fuel valves are cut.
Maintain flight level 230 and good rate through 12 for traffic, please. Clear to 230.
Okay, cool,
Good rate through 12,
cool Bay Area. Whoops. All right, so I think I'll call it a day for the stream. May continue to do another leg of the flight. I'll see, but I'll give you guys a replay of the flight and play my usual music. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay for the replay if you want to see the landing. I think it was a nice landing. I like the way I did that. And I'll catch you guys again next time. It's good to be streaming again, and have an awesome rest of your day. See ya.